What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Isaiah Malonson, and within the past 12 months, I've coached over 100 people. And as time went on and the more people I got to coach, I started recognizing patterns between those who got a deal and those who did not get a deal. And I started recognizing, patterns of things that I used to go through when I was a beginner, right? So I'm very, very familiar with the getting your first deal process. It's something that I would say I mastered, or I have a lot of experience in. I'm an expert in that field. So I know the journey and the struggles to get a wholesale deal when you don't have a mentor. I know what it's like when you do have a mentor, a free mentor, paid mentor. And then I know what it's like to help other people go through that process, go through that same process. I know the common obstacles that everybody's most likely going to have to go through. I know, there's pattern recognition, so I know what it looks like when somebody's about to get a wholesale deal. I know what it looks like when somebody's about to quit. I know what it looks like when someone's having doubts. I know what it looks like when someone doesn't believe in the process. I know what all of that looks like to a T. And so when people start showing signs, I start telling them these things. I start telling them what those things are. And I'm not saying this like it's not my opinion. I'm just stating the facts. Like this is what I have observed over this time period of coaching well over 100 people. Okay. Um, so yeah, in this video, I just want to go over the common traits that all of the people who get a wholesale deal have, right? I want to do both the common traits of the people who get a deal and the common traits of the people who do not get a deal. But in this video specifically, I'm just going to go over the common traits or the main common traits that I see in everyone who has ever gotten a deal. Um, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen right here. If you want to become a student, just DM me on Instagram, or there's going to be a link down below where you could book a one-on-one call for 30 minutes with me, and I'll see if you're a good fit. If you want my free script and free contract that I use for wholesaling real estate, just DM me on Instagram or email me. My email and info is going to be in the description. All right, let's go. All right, so right here, got this Google Docs open. So common traits of people who get a deal versus people who don't. Okay, so the people who do get a deal, these are really in no specific order. I feel like they're all just as important as like each is just as important as the other. So let's get into it. So number one, they have a growth mindset. Now, I know that sounds vague or that sounds cliche, but let me get into it a little bit, right? They focus on getting better more than they focus on getting a wholesale deal. A deal will only come from either volume, luck, or skill. Okay. You don't want to bet on luck, so you focus on skill and volume. The more volume you do, the more skill you build, which in turn will also increase your odds of getting a lucky deal or having a lucky day. Okay. So it's all correlated together. But a growth mindset is someone who is detached from the outcome, right? They're focused on 90% of people base their efforts off of luck or what they think they deserve, right? Somebody could work hard for, a week and they're like, why am I not rich yet? Right? They don't have realistic expectations. It's 9 times out of 10, it's always going to be harder than what you expected it to be, right? So when you experience hard, when you go through a hard challenge or whatever, understand like this is what you signed up for, right? And it's just a part of the process. And the longer you go, the higher your odds of success are. Okay. So again, you're only going to get a deal from three things, right? For three ways, right? It's either volume, the amount of volume you do, the level of skill you have, or luck, straight luck, right? And if you focus on volume, then the skill will increase most of the time. Sometimes you could just be doing the same thing over and over again and do a shitty job, right? You want to focus on getting better so you can build the skill. And in turn, that would make your odds of success way more likely. So skill and volume are very, very important. That's why you have the KPIs of 20 conversations and 3 offers every single day. You need that specific volume minimum to get a wholesale deal, right? I broke it all down to a science. Watch my other videos on this. 20 conversations and 3 offers. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that it's 20 conversations and three offers, right? Three 30-minute offer calls, script offer calls. I get in detail to, those KPIs. But if you do that specific volume, and if you stick to the definition of those KPIs, you will in turn get better. You will get better if you hit those KPIs every single day for 90 days. And you will have done so much volume at 90 days that it is physically impossible for you to not get a deal. That is why I guarantee anybody, if you do my KPIs with just Zillow free, I guarantee you will get a wholesale deal. I promise you. Okay. You have to hit them every day though. And you have to focus on getting better, right? So have that growth mindset. Okay. Number two, and just remember, every single student that has got to deal with me has had all of these things. Okay. So, number two, they are extremely coachable, right? There's only three reasons that somebody won't achieve a goal or won't be rich or won't get a wholesale deal. You're either stupid, lazy, or arrogant, right? Nobody's really too stupid to not get a wholesale deal. Nobody. You like a monkey or a robot. You don't have to think. You don't have to have a college degree to get a wholesale deal. Anybody off the street can literally get a wholesale deal, right? So you can't be too stupid. Um, a lot of times people are lazy. That's what like 80% or 70% of people is like lazy, right? And then the other percent is arrogant, right? Which means they are not coachable. A lot of times, the people who don't get a wholesale deal, they come in here and I lay out my process, right? I have a clear process, step by step by step by step. This is what I have done to get the success that I have gotten, right? I tell them that. That's what I'm selling. That's what you're buying. My system, my way to, and how I got money, right? So I lay it all out there, and it's the students who have arrogance that come in and say, I don't like that and that and that, and I think you should do that different. I'm gonna do it this way. Okay. And I'm not dumb enough to argue with them. I'm not stupid enough to like argue with them, right? Why would I argue with them? They paid me. I have the results. Who looks like the dumbass? I don't even have to say anything. I just say, okay, let me know how that works out. Now, I'm not saying that my way is the only way and my way is the right way, but when you go to a mentor, it doesn't even have to be me. Anybody, when you pay somebody money, get your money's worth, right? Do what they say and be on their ass. After you do what they say, be like, okay, now what? I did it. So they either iterate what you did or they give you the next thing to do. But get your money's worth. So if you pay me, do what I say so you could get the results that you want. Because that's why you paid me, to get the results. And I can guarantee the results if you follow the process, right? So they are extremely coachable. When I say jump, they don't say how high, they just jump. Okay. When I say get something locked up, they don't say, well, what about this? Or what if it's priced at this? Or what if they say this? They don't do all that. They just get a contract signed. Okay. Now I know there's maybe a few questions in there, like somewhere, but if you're a real killer, if you have, and I'm gonna get into them, right? Because every winter student has had these, or every student that got a deal has had all of these, but they have resolve, right? So it's like I tell them jump, they do not say how high, they just start jumping. And if I have to iterate them on their jump, then they will allow me to iterate them, right? They don't even stop jumping until I say stop. Okay. When a task is given, they overdo the task. They go the extra mile every single time. They constantly try to shift their mindset. They constantly try to shift their mindset because they know that they have to go through a change to get something that, they never had before, that first $10,000 or that first wholesale deal. They know that they have to change and that their mindset has to change. They have to get on a higher frequency. So they're constantly trying to shift it and see things from a different perspective, right? A perspective that they never had before. They trust what the coach tells them, right? They get their money's worth. They don't question it and they focus on getting better. They strictly focus on getting better rather than trying to figure it out, because you don't have to figure anything out. That's what you hired me for, or that's what you hired your coach for, right? You don't have to figure shit out. Just do what the coach tells you, you know? So every time their brains, this is a very big thing, and I talk about this a lot. Um, every time their brain kicks in and tries to reason with them as to why they should do it a different way, aka a different way that's contrary to the way that the coach told them, they ignore it and put their faith into the teacher. which allows them to truly skip the learning curve, right? You're skipping a learning curve. That means you don't understand it and you're not gonna understand it. You understand? You're not gonna understand it. You're only gonna understand it once you're on the other side of that learning curve. Then you can look at what you did in hindsight and you see, oh, that's why that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's a very big issue. Like a lot of students who come there, they're not coachable. Not just with me. I just see that a lot, right? You don't have to pay me for me to recognize these things. Like, and then, like I said, I've had hundreds of people come to me and I've been coaching them. And these are just common things. I know what it looks like when somebody's gonna, succeed in whatever they do, right? They have to be extremely coachable and they have to allow themselves to put the trust in the coach. That means so when they kick their brain, their subconscious kicks in and tries to tell them that doesn't make sense. We should do it this way, or that doesn't make sense. Why is he doing that? They ignore that and they trust the coach and they do the work. And they understand that they don't understand right now, right? They get that they don't understand and they understand that they're gonna, understand it at the end rather than in the during the process. So, number three, they never miss a single day. They don't miss a single day. Now, to be honest, I think I said this actually in my other video. The most that you could miss is 3 days. I don't think that anybody has missed more than 2 days, any of the students who have gotten a deal. Um, but 9 times out of 10, they're always showing up. They're always on time. You know, That's a common trait that all of them have. That's just what it is. They show up every single day and they never miss a day and they're the first one in there, they're the last one to leave. Um yeah, so they show up every single day on time, not because they think it will get them a deal or to impress me. This is very important. That's not why they show up on time. They show up on time because they set a personal standard for themselves that will not allow them to show up late to anything that involves their goals. Missing a day is not an option for themselves. That's why they show up every day, right? You motherfuckers, I'm telling you, bro, some of y'all got to set a higher standard for yourself. You're not showing up on time or early to impress somebody or to get brownie points. You're doing it because you're having this identity shift within yourself. You are becoming the type of person who doesn't show up late. You become an early, like you're becoming a different version of yourself, a better version of yourself, right? And so that's why they don't miss a single day, is because they know that they're going through a shift in identity. They know that they're growing as a person. And so they know that they have to raise their standards, right? Maybe they already came with that standard. They know better than to show up late to anything that they say they're going to show up to, right? That's also goes down to keeping your word. Can you keep your word? Can you keep the promises that you made to yourself? They may have promised themselves that they're going to show up every day and take this serious. So they do, even on the days where they don't feel like it, especially on the days when they don't feel like it or it doesn't make sense, right? And a lot of the people who end up quitting halfway, right? They stop showing up on time. About day 30, they stop showing up on time. They stop showing up. They miss a day. And I'm like, "Why did you miss a day?" They're like, "Oh, my head hurt." They just tell me some bullshit like that, right? My head hurt. I had to walk my dog. I had to go to the store. I had to da da da. Like, okay, I'm not gonna argue. I'm just telling you, no bias, right? I love every single one of my students. I really do, right? And I find purpose in helping and teaching people. But I'm just gonna be honest and tell you like it is, right? Because I'm gonna tell you what I wish somebody would have told me, right? Nobody's gonna make you do the work. Nobody's gonna force you to do anything. The teacher is not going to push you more than you could push yourself. Like it's not the teacher's job to do that. The teacher, it's their job to show you the way and guide you in the way. And then on the days where maybe, if you're lucky enough to get a good teacher who actually cares, then on the days that you feel discouraged and they see that, they recognize that, and they could tell that you've been putting in work, they're going to pour into you. Right. If you're one of my students and I know that you've been putting in the work and I see discouragement, ask any of my motherfucking students. Ask any of them. that got a wholesale deal. They'll tell you, like, I'm here, I'm calling you because I want it for you, right? But I can't, I want it for you as well, but I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. Because if I do, then that's a problem. And that's a you problem that you got to figure out. Okay. Number four, they have resolve. They already made up in their mind that they are going to get a deal. It doesn't matter what I tell them or what happens or what obstacles might come their way. They will either achieve their goal or die trying. Okay. That is a common trait that I have with all of the students who got a deal. Losing wasn't an option. Failing wasn't an option. They already did that. They're not doing it anymore. They're done failing. They're done trying. They are only going to do. So they come in with that resolve. I don't give them that. Like they came in with it. Well, there's a few students actually that I actually did put it in them. They didn't come with it at first. I actually had to motivate them and help them and teach them and always be there for them. But the real winners, the killers, they already have the resolve. And honestly, the killers, they have something to prove. They have something to prove. Either they want to shit on somebody, or they want to prove somebody wrong, or they don't want to let anybody down, or they want to prove to their family what's possible, or they want to inspire maybe their kids or a sibling, but they have something to prove to somebody, either to themselves or somebody else, right? And they come in with this resolve like, I'm not losing. It's just like not an option sort of thing, right? They don't even think about losing. Like that's the same thing I had and a lot of other students have had. I remember Jayra, one of my students, she told me that same thing. I was like, "Did you ever feel like giving up?" She was like, no, that wasn't a thought because it wasn't an option." And I completely understood what she meant because I had that same feeling. I still do. It's like losing isn't an option. So they have that resolve. So number five, last one, they are focused on identity shifting. Very, very important. A lot of y'all are just worried about getting a deal, and nobody's worrying about becoming the type of person who constantly gets deals, right? So, number five, they focus on identity shifting. When people come in, it's because they want to do something that they have never done before, aka close a deal. And they recognize that in order to get what they never had, they must be willing to do things that they've never done. So they embrace the challenge of shifting their identity and are willing to humble themselves and accept the fact that they actually might not know shit and they have to drop all their old beliefs. That's very, very important. That's very, very important, but it's life changing. When you could truly set your ego to the side, when you could truly set your ego to the side and be like, you know what? All you got to do is use common sense, right? Like I said, if a student tries to challenge me on my strategies and they've never closed a deal and they've paid me to teach them, what do I look like trying to correct them or like prove them wrong or like argue with them, right? I'll correct them, right? I'll tell them. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, right? But the winners, like I'm not gonna tell you, like, okay, do it your way then, because you're focused on getting a deal. What you want to be focused on is being coachable, being trainable, because millionaires, multimillionaires are trainable. They're coachable. The best of the best will tell you this. You have to be a student before you could be a mentor. You have to be a student before you could be a teacher, right? And you always constantly have to be a student, right? The wisest or smartest man in the room is the man who recognizes that he knows so little. Okay. So you got to be willing to humble yourself. And when you come in here, you can't try to override their system with your system because if your system worked, then it would have worked by now. Does that make sense? And it doesn't work. It hasn't worked, but his does. So it would be wise to drop your beliefs and try to implement theirs, the coaches, the students, I mean, the teachers. Okay, I hope you guys got some value out of this. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. I'm dropping weekly videos, almost daily videos about wholesale real estate, self-improvement, and just life in general. Okay, if you want my wholesale scripts and my wholesale contract, just email me or DM me on Instagram. That information is going to be down below. If you want my wholesale starter pack, okay, if you want that, go watch that video. There's going to be a link somewhere around here for, to that video to where you could get that document for free. Okay, I'm still working on it, But right now, everything, y'all can get that completely for free. Just make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Okay, if you want to work with me one-on-one, there's going to be a link down in the description to book a call with me for 30 minutes one-on-one, and I'll see if you're a good fit. Okay, I appreciate y'all. Stay motivated.